Well, hello, more. Welcome to the Magical Mystery School, and thank you so much for coming back. Well, today we're going to be talking about symbols of the tarot, class number 11, and we're going to be talking about key 10, the Wheel of Fortune. Now, we have been talking about the Hermit card and the Fool's Journey. So, after the Fool has done all this soul searching and investigation with the Hermit card, now he's starting to see that there's a lot of cycles and that kind of thing going on in life, patterns and, simple things. The sun comes up and the sun goes down in nature, but also in his own life, too. Now, this Wheel of Fortune, not only can it represent just natural cycles, but we can also think of it like as fate or destiny, karma, good karma, bad karma, things like that. And just all those like chance encounters that bump into somebody, and or how there's this huge strange sequence of events that led you to some place in your life. And so all those kinds of things are wrapped up in the Wheel of Fortune. And we can also think of the Wheel of Fortune as a real turning point when maybe you make a decision uh, to get ready. You want to get back out into the world after being kind of hidden with the Hermit card. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead and put you on pause, and then I'm going to drop the camera down so we can see the symbols real easily. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Here's our Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Here's our BOTA deck, and there's me. That's my little stand-in person. Anyway, so the key 10, the Wheel of Fortune, is also symbolized by Kaf, which is the Hebrew letter and it means curve. You can see it's just a nice curve there. But it also means a grasping hand, okay? And it actually means having it in your hand, right? This is where people already mentally understand things. They have an intelligence. They've grasped the idea. Now, this is it's much clearer than the information that we're getting here than with the Hermit. The Hermit was kind of abstract. We were investigating things, whereas now we're seeing the patterns in life. Now, the key 10 also represents, is the key for Jupiter. And so it also represents the direction of west. That's the completion of the day. So we have manifested things. We've closed our hand on things. We've come to the end on that western side. It also represents purple, all right? And the notes B flat or A sharp. And it also, with that curve, you can kind of think of it too as the blood circulating around in your body. It also rules that kind of thing also. So, but basically, it's accomplishment, mastery, success. It's considered the great benefic, like Jupiter is, and that's the west side, the setting sun, and just the Venus, the rising sun, or the Empress, is our lesser benefic. All right. Other things that Jupiter and this card represent, if you're pulling them for a reading or anything like that, is that anyone who has a firm understanding of ideas, of a firm grasp, and that would be like judges, bankers. They used to say in the book theologians and stuff, but these days I've been kind of disappointed in our theologians. Basically, they need to come out a little bit more. But anyway, okay, so let's keep going, and we've got the four corners here. That's probably one of the first things that pops out at you. And these are the symbols for the four fixed signs of the zodiac. So we have Taurus the bull, we have Leo the lion, we have Scorpio. Now, Scorpio can be, the scorpion, or it can be an eagle or even a dove. And Aquarius standing for humanity. So we've got humans in there too. Now, these are fixed signs, so they are all on the, very, real. They very much contrast to the wheel, because the wheel is moving back and forth, around and around, whereas these are pretty much fixed in place. Now let's go ahead and look at the wheel itself. Now right there in the very center, that's the archetypal world. So that's all that information that we get from, just like, just the red tells us, that it's a passion, activity, that type of thing. And then the next circle out beyond the archetypal world is the creative world. Then we've got a circle for the formative world. And then finally the materialistic world. So anything that we're trying to manifest, we start with these like archetypal ideas, and then they become more and more concrete as we move out from that circle. There's 8 spokes inside the wheel. All right. And those are, again, referring us back to the radiant energy. And you can see with the Fool card here, he's got 10 of these wheels on his tunic there. And they all have 8 spokes on those wheels too. So whenever you see that kind of thing, you'll think of the Wheel of Fortune. And there's also the 8-pointed stars, if you ever see those. And that's on a card we haven't talked about yet, but that'll be coming up. And come on, focus. Now, in comparison to that, we had at the Hermit card, remember we had a 6-pointed star in the lantern? So the 8-spoked wheel and the 8-pointed stars are referring more to squares and sesqui-squares and things like that, whereas the Trine, the 6-pointed star, is going to be referring more to sextiles and trions and that sort of thing. Okay. Now let's go ahead and head out to this formative circle here, and what we've got are symbols for alchemy. And now this one should be kind of familiar to you. That's the symbol for Mercury, and it's the same in astrology, but alchemically it's that as above, so below, so it's up there at the top, so that same idea. And here we're seeing that yellow radiant light again also. Now to the right we have the symbol for sulfur, which is kind of analogous to Mars type energy. So it's active, it's there's some passion in there, it gets you going, that sort of thing. Whereas, and I should have also mentioned, reminded you again that Mercury is self-consciousness, not unconsciousness or subconsciousness, not super consciousness, but just your conscious waking mind. Now over to the left is the symbol for salt, and salt is kind of inertia. It symbolizes the earth. A lot of times when you'll do rituals and things like that, you'll use salt to represent the earth, and of course candles for fire, incense for air, water for water. But a lot of times you'll use salt for symbolizing earth. And then down below we've got the symbol which looks very much like the Aquarian symbol, but for alchemy it stands for dissolution or dissolving things. So and the great dissolver is water, of course, but this is where we're really kind of letting these hardcore thoughts in our mind, let those dissolve, let them change with as we see patterns and maybe see habits we want to dissolve or cycles. I'm sure all of you have had, you've repeated things in your life and you're like, I want to quit doing that. And one of the best ways to do it is to just turn your focus away. If something comes up, if you've got a bad habit or an addiction or something like that in your life, and for entertainment purposes only, try not, I know it sounds impossible, but the more you can turn your attention away from it, whether it's giving you something else to do or just trying not to think about it, the better. The easier that will become. Okay, now we've got the yellow serpent here descending, and again it's yellow, so it's referring back to our a magician, because that's the yellow is the color for the magician. And again, as above, so below, so he's coming down below. And not only can we think of Mercury too, but remember, or the magician for our, remember the actual term for snake was the strength card. Remember for the Hebrew letter? And we can see some, curves in the tail and that kind of thing. Representing that, again, that snake type quality. Now over to the right, here we've got, and again, all these words, I'm so sorry if I have a hard enough time with English, but it's Hermonibus, which is the jackal-headed Egyptian god. And you can see he's on the rise, he's red here. And notice his eyes are right at the horizon here. So his eyes are just, we're just starting to see things. So, it really represents that evolution of consciousness. It's coming up over the horizon there. And again, we've got desire, action, that type of thing. Now up above, we've got the Sphinx. And the Sphinx is, the great riddles of the Sphinx, right, of existence. And the Sphinx is a very interesting character from Egypt also, a lion's body, man or woman's head, that sort of thing. But they are blue. The Sphinx is depicted as blue here, which helps us, reminds us back, gets us back to that high priestess. Again, she's very much full of riddles herself, because she is symbolizing unconscious. So what we're looking at here is this self-knowledge. The Sphinx with that sword of truth in her hand, she's actually, saying, behind the veil of the personality, behind the veil of the personality is the real essence, is the real you. And that's part of what all this work is that we're doing here with tarot and astrology and everything else, is trying to figure out our own self within. Okay, now out here to this material circle, we've got the Hebrew letters Yod He Wah He. Sometimes it's pronounced Jehovah, but those are symbolized there too, and there's a lot of meaning behind that too that I'm just not going to go into right now. But the other one that's really interesting that I want to talk to you about is this, the letters here. Now when you look at these, you think, oh, well, they're just spelling tarot, T-A-R-O-T, right? No biggie, huh? Well, when we look at this from with our mystery school instructions here, what we see is, we see the word rota, rotate, rota, tarot, orat, orate, speak, Torah, the law, Torah is the law in Hebrew, of Ator, which is old Egyptian, Ator is an old Egyptian god for the cycles of nature, and Hathor might be another one that, the Ator is sort of a shortening of that. So we basically have the wheel of tarot speaks the law of Ator. So Rota, Tarot, Orat, Torah, Ator. And there's something about chanting that, for me anyway, that I've found very soothing. So I encourage you to kind of play around with that and see if you get any downloads of information. I guess that's the term everybody uses these days. Okay, so I just want to show you a couple of other cards from other decks, just for fun and games. And here's that Renaissance deck, and you can see that's the Wheel of Fortune. And we can kind of see the some of the same elements here with the sword and going down and up the wheel here. And I thought this was kind of interesting. This was from the Spellcaster, so this is a very modern deck. But I think it really came back to this old Renaissance deck. And when we can see also, and we can start, these are the 4 seasons that the 4 fixed signs represent. And here's the snake going down and the Egyptian god going up, and they use the monkey there. And here, this one's from the Gilded Tarot, one of my favorite modern decks also. But just to show you how the modern decks may not have everything, all the symbols that our basic Rider-Waite-Smith has. But I want you to just become familiar with these symbols so that you can, when you find them in the newer decks, you can go, oh wow, cool, look at that. And you can see there's the cycles of the moon and such in there also. Okay, I think that's all I need to say about this one. This is a pretty detailed one, and I think I'll say goodbye for now. Oh, and just also do keep looking for these symbols everywhere. Like on the last class, I was showing you the Eye of Horus, the Great Seeing Eye, and how it was on the dollar bill. And part of that is just because you're going to start finding, now that you know about these symbols, you're going to start finding them in all the weirdest places. It's really weird. Anyway, okay, guys, bye. We'll see you next time for Justice.